Good afternoon, everybody over there, and it's good morning here. It's just coming up to 6 a.m. Sunday morning. Linda, thank you for extending this invitation for me to once again to say something about what's happening here in Australia. Also, congratulations, 18 conferences, and we have been with you from day one, at the very first one back there in New York at Mount Sinai Hospital. Here in Australia, we're celebrating 20 years of our ban, the total ban of asbestos in Australia. Now, that 20 years has gone so fast. It really has. As a matter of fact, we've just had our first meeting of the groups around Australia to come up with a new strategic plan for the total removal of asbestos in Australia. Because we're still having imports are still coming across the border, mainly from machinery that's being built in Asia, in the Asian countries, and one of an organisation that we're affiliated to here in Australia, ADAO, which is run by the Australian trade unions, ADAO, a group, are doing a lot of work in Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, to have a ban of asbestos in them countries. And that should stop some of the imports that we get here in Australia. So, as I say, 20 years into our complete ban, and the legacy of not having a total asbestos ban here in Australia, that's 70 years that we fought hard to get this total ban, yet the numbers of victims have not decreased at all. We still lose, on average, just under 700 Australians from mesothelioma per year. And as one of the doctors has just said, lung cancers also outnumber meso. So you really don't know the total. But unfortunately, the numbers are not going down. That 70-year legacy of trying to have this ban in place, we're still, seeing the results of not having that ban. So that's what we're up to here in Australia. I know I've got limited time, so I don't want to hold everybody up. But once again, Linda, keep up the good fight. 18 years, well, as I said, it took us 70 years here in Australia, so keep going, keep going, keep going. And thank you once again for inviting me. I would have loved to have been there in person, but the airfares, the cost of airfares from Australia to America is just way beyond this little black duck's funding. So once again, thank you, Linda, and thank you to all the other delegates there and speakers. Thank you.
Thank you, Barry. Barry, before you go, if you could give us a very short bit and bite. We have Greg Russell with the firefighters here at other unions. As a union girl, I respect so much that we had the opportunity to hold our conference at AFL-CIO. You're such a strong union man. Do you have a parting word of strength about the unions and what they mean to workers and families?
Well, I do. As I just mentioned, the trade union movement here in Australia have a organisation called AFIDA, which is Union Aid Abroad, and they're doing tremendous work in the countries I just mentioned. As a matter of fact, it was the unions nearly convinced the Vietnamese government to have a ban, but then COVID hit and that all sort of fell away. So the unions are rebuilding that that infrastructure into Southeast Asia, because that's a stepping stone. If we can get a ban in Southeast Asia, then the next big one that the unions can concentrate on is India. And that's a massive, massive problem.